almost like a biome.
A biome?
Bayou.
A bayou.
Yeah. I don't know. Cut that.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List, the show that we talk about movies, talk about some theater movies, talk about some streaming movies. We just talk about movies. Ironically enough, as I'm saying this out loud, though, I realized our opening segment, we're going to talk about a TV show, though.
Yep.
So,
maybe movie relevant.
Shows how much I plan these things. Let's move into the opening spotlight. We're a little late to the party here, but not much is going on, so we thought we would talk about the She-Hulk season in general, I guess, specifically the finale, whatever.
Yeah.
It came out a week ago. Yes, wild is a way to put it. I remember because I had seen it early that day when it premiered. You had seen it later that day, but I asked you, so what did you think of it? He's like, I hadn't seen it yet. And you were like, what do you think of it? I was like, I don't know. I honestly didn't know what to think about it.
Yeah.
And then I kind of sat on it on that day and throughout the weekend, and I think I've kind of landed where I'm at with this series, but I'm curious, where do you kind of sit with this show? Because I feel like this is a much bigger show for the MCU than we realize.
Yes, I think especially some of the implications that happen or things that got brought up in the show are huge for the future of the MCU. However, the show was okay. I did not think there were aspects that I really liked when they did the old intro for the final episode. I thought that was cool. That was clever. I thought just some of the behind the scenes, like how they actually had her film the scenes as She-Hulk, but she had the suit with the face up here, and I liked that. That was cool. But it was okay.
I will say for me, the laughs are few and far between, but when I did laugh, I laughed hard throughout the show. Yep. But yeah, to me, there was never a point where I was like, I hate this episode or I love this episode. A lot of them were just fine to me, even except for the finale, which was crazy. And we'll maybe get into that. Yep. I don't know how much we want to get into with spoilers or whatever.
Yeah, there's only one scene for me, or one episode for me that I was like, I really do not like this one.
Which one was that?
The wedding one.
The wedding one?
Yep.
The only thing that confused me about that, and we talked about this a little bit, was the Titania character or whatever. How was she? Titania, thank you. Where did I get Titania? That's from something else. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what you're looking up.
No, not whatever. Anyways, we're not getting. But we were like, well, how is this person not in prison? Yeah, she's done many crimes up to this point.
Yeah, the first episode, she breaks into a courtroom and is assaulting somebody.
Yeah,
and trying to kill She-Hulk or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's
tried, but she failed.
Whoa,
she failed hard.
Now you're just this huge celebrity brand.
Well, I think she was a huge celebrity before.
Yeah, but
she was so the fourth wall breaking. Do we want to talk about that a little bit?
It's not as good as when Deadpool does it.
You don't think so?
No, I think, let me rephrase that. There were a few things that I thought were a few quick one-liners or even just some of the looks that she gave, I thought were pretty good. But the ending just was over the top for me. I don't know. I don't know.
Here's where I kind of stand. Yeah, like I said, I think the show overall is fine. Wasn't so much for me, but I don't think it was supposed to be. The people who say the MCU isn't as good as it was before, I'm going to kind of transition this into what I think is the state of the MCU, by the way.
Okay.
I think the MCU is at the best place it has ever been right now, including with She-Hulk. Because when you look at comics, like Marvel comics throughout the years, even the most diehard Marvel fans probably didn't read every single comic series there were, because some were made just for certain audiences or whatever.
Yep.
I love the fact that even though this had a few action scenes, for the most part, it was more of a lawyer show. It expanded the universe in more ways than most shows have done. It introduced more mutant characters. It brought us Daredevil. It's done. It expanded. Hulk just goes off into space every once in a while, just cause. Like that's the universe we're in right now, and that's the universe it's introduced us. Isn't this what we want out of Marvel? To expand the universe, to do different things?
And going off that point, I do think you're right, because granted, it might not be as grandioso, but there is so many different avenues and things between the different TV shows and the films. And isn't the scare? Didn't they just release a scary thing, like a werewolf?
Yeah, Werewolf
thing?
by Night. It's it was like this one-off comic. Very few people read it.
Yeah,
I don't think a lot of people have watched this show. Unfortunately, I haven't either. But this was just kind of a fun one-off thing for them.
Yeah, and I want to watch it because I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, isn't this what we wanted out of? This is what I wish DC would at least, at least Marvel's at this point where they can just do whatever they want now at this point.
And no matter what, there's probably going to be I don't think anything they do is going to diminish them too much or bring them up too much higher. Like they're at almost like a plateau. Like with what they do,
you bring up an interesting point. Can they go higher than Endgame? We've seen some of the things they've introduced or announced that they're going to do. Can they go higher than Endgame?
I think they'll try, but I don't think it will.
You don't think I think if anyone has a chance, maybe Secret Wars.
I don't. But as of right now, I don't see it. I could be wrong.
Look. I know I kind of introduced this as a review of She-Hulk, but I'm transitioning into my people complaining about
state of MCU.
State of MCU. Yeah, this whole video is going to be the state of MCU now. I don't get how people are. We're spoiled children at this point. Marvel has given us all these good stuff that the few times they make us eat our vegetables, we complain. You see things like within a year, we got a movie with 3 Spider-Man. We introduced the multiverse with Doctor Strange. We brought Daredevil into the MCU. And then some. That's only like 3 of the things that have happened within this year. And people want to complain that the MCU is dying? What are we doing? As a DC fan, do you know how the grass is greener on the other side? Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The grass is a different shade of green we have not discovered yet in the MCU right now. And we want to complain the MCU is dying? No, thank you, Kevin Feige. You brought me Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man back.
True.
You can make all the She-Hulks you want. You can make 10 seasons of that show as far as I'm concerned. And she could never throw a punch, and I will thank you for bringing back Tobey Maguire.
I agree with a lot of what you said there.
That being said, She-Hulk was fine.
She-Hulk was fine.
All right, I'm not sure how much of that I'm going to use, but we've been spending too much time on that. So we got a lot to talk about here with the weekly preview, so let's move on to that portion. Like I said, many things to discuss as we move through spooky season here. A lot more options to go through. Starting with Wednesday, October 19th, so will already be out by the time this comes out. The School for Good and Evil coming to Netflix. It's basically Hogwarts, but only Slytherin and Gryffindor, and they're in 2 different castles.
Yep.
Is really kind of the thing I got here.
The castle even looks similar. And they got to the castle by like a bird carrying them.
Yeah.
I was like, Hogwarts.
So you got 2 female leads here. It basically is established if you're going to become the nice fairy tale princess, you go to this school. If you're going to become the evil witch who's the antagonist in those stories, you go to this school. Somehow these 2 get switched. And it's like, oh, it was a mistake. I'm not supposed to be here.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
But then the nice princess who's supposed to be at the princess school is at the witchy school or whatever, and she like starts turning evil and is like, maybe I was supposed to be here and all that stuff. I will say, one of the characters goes, the one who is supposed to be evil, who's at the nice school. She's like, I think something bad is going on here. Yeah, it's called the School for Good and Evil. That's not only the title of the movie, that's what they call the school. So, you might be onto something there, Sherlock. Something evil may be afoot here. Just saying. Yeah. Any other thoughts on that movie?
No.
Okay. Well, we gotta get through these quickly. The Stranger, also coming out on Netflix same day, October 19th. Super dark and dramatic undercover cop story set in Australia in the Down Under.
The Down Under.
Yeah. Their goal is to catch a suspected murderer who has avoided conviction due to not enough evidence. Yeah, looks really dramatic.
Looks
very
shot
dramatic. Very well.
Yep. Cinematography looks awesome. I can't remember the two actors' names off the top of my head right now, but they're both pretty solid actors, and I'm excited for it. I think it looks good. I like the dark, dramatic-y, mysterious almost. I wouldn't say thriller because it's not. It's like a slow burn thriller.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this lean more towards mystery
kind
of thing than thriller. But coming out Thursday, October 20th, VHS 99, Shudder is back again.
Let's go.
Not a lot to go off of the trailer. Like, really, It's a short trailer, and there's not a lot of shows. But my question is, do you think Y2K will be a factor in this? I mean, why else set it in 99?
I could.
New Year's.
Because the grandma had the New Year's glasses on.
Like, it's New Year's, 99. It's got to deal with Y2K.
I think one of the 5 stories will have something to do with
That's
New
right.
Year's.
It's an anthology.
Yep.
There's, like, multiple stories here. Unless they all tie in the end, I guess. Maybe that could be possible.
I love the VHS series. I've seen them all up except for this one. So it'll be they're just fun little creative outlets for directors that maybe some of them are really big and some of them aren't, and they get a 10-minute window to shoot a little story. And I love a lot of it.
15 minutes of fame, my friend.
And a lot of them are very creative, as in practical effects over digital or CGI. And I always love that in films. Even if it looks a little cheesier, I would much rather go practical versus digital.
But Friday, October 21st, opening up the weekend, Black Adam, the story that tells the origin of the famous DC villain starring Dwayne Johnson. Please, 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 please let this be the win DC needs. Please, please, please. Got a pretty good cast surrounding it here as well. One of the big ones that I'm looking forward to, Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. I'm a big fan of that character. I like Dr. Fate. He's basically the MCU's version of Doctor Strange, big magic user and everything. So it's going to be Black Adam versus the Justice Society. Unknown how many of the Justice Leaguers from past movies may make an appearance.
May or may not be in there.
There's been some rumors. I read an article recently. Apparently, Dwayne Johnson went over someone's head to make sure this cameo would happen. So things are still not great in DC land.
Are we taking a guess? Are we taking a guess?
Do you want to? Who do you think is going to cameo? And if it's different, is there a different cameo you would want?
Okay, I think Shazam's going to cameo.
Okay.
And what I want, Ben Affleck, Batman.
Okay, so I think Superman is cameoing.
As Henry Cavill?
As Henry Cavill. Reportedly, also, this is pretty fresh. Cavill's coming back. He didn't say he wanted to. Somehow he's coming back. I don't know how. Money, actually. I do know how. That's always how it goes.
Money.
Here's who I think I want to cameo. I want to introduce another sort of DC villain dictator. That's essentially what Black Adam is. He's actually a dictator of his own country in the world. I want Sinestro.
Okay.
I want to introduce that Green Lantern universe. I want to bring that into here. I love the Green Lanterns. We need to get the Lanterns on the league. Yep. All right. We almost got Jon Stewart in the Zack Snyder one, but I don't even know if that counts anymore. So I think it's going to be Cavill Superman. I want it to be a surprise casting of Sinestro.
Okay. Not a Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern.
We don't speak of that movie.
Yeah, Deadpool took care of that.
Yeah.
At one of the post-credit scenes.
Yeah, he did. He took care of that. Yeah. Deadpool right there taking care of that. Also coming out that same weekend, Ticket to Paradise. George Clooney and Julia Roberts reunite. Their daughter is getting married, and these two divorced parents believe it's a mistake, so they make a truce for the time being to try and ruin the wedding. Some parts of it do, I think, seem kind of funny. Pretty good cast here. One thing I will say, the movie makes it painstakingly obvious these two hate each other, and they've hated each other for decades. And yet they agree on this one thing. Now, I'm not saying they're right. But if two people hate each other so much and are willing to make a truce over this one idea they similarly have, just give them a listen, is what I'm saying. To the daughter out there, I'm not saying they're right. Maybe just give them a listen. Not that to get too political here, but if Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton agreed on something, even if it was something none of the country agreed with, and yet these two agreed on it, I'm not saying we do it, but I'm saying we just take a step back. We look at it and go, maybe
there's something there. Yeah,
these two hate each other. They're not agreeing with this engagement.
I didn't look at it that way, but until you said it, that's a great point. That is a very strong argument.
Now, if you watch the trailer, some of the things they do kind of make it so that they are not good people. So maybe, like I said, I'm not saying they're right. I'm just saying if I'm the daughter, maybe take a step back. Take a breath here, take a walk, think about it for a little bit. Just think about it a little bit. If these two hate each other. If these two hate each other as much as this trailer implies, and they're like, no, we need to do this.
Yeah. The trailer makes it, yeah.
I'm just saying. Also coming out that same weekend, Argentina 1985, coming straight to Amazon. The true story that talks about a legal team that attempted to prosecute a dictatorship. One of the most dangerous ones in history, I might add. Yeah, they got some...
Imagine, I watched the trailer and I thought, imagine She-Hulk with all the lawyering, but none of the Hulkness. That's what I...
So She-Hulk. Burn. No. MCU burn. Got it.
No, this looks very dramatic. It does look... I think this show looks interesting. Like, I want to hear the real story, how it happened, what happened, and if they're successful or not. Like, it looks like a cool premise. You got to prosecute the dictator, and nobody wants to help you. Nobody. So who do you get? Some young buckaroos that don't know what they're doing. That's your team.
What is it that they say? He's like, well, none of the seniors will prosecute. Well, then we get the juniors.
Yep. And then they said, 90% of the people don't want to help you on this. And he goes, 99.
Which, I was about to say, as I was watching it, I was like, against a dictatorship, 90%, that number seems low.
Yeah. And then they say, how many cases have you done? None.
This is great. Yeah. That's like if your first game was the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, my God. Also coming out that same weekend, Descendant. This is coming to Netflix. It is a documentary. Follow me on this one. I have not heard about this story, so this was pretty fascinating to me. Talks about a historical mystery. Basically, back in 1860, a man went and kidnapped more Africans to be part of the slave trade, even though slavery at this point was abolished. Why did he do this? Legend has it, it was on a dare. That's basically what happened. It was on a dare. Yeah, we've had crappy people throughout all time periods, America. It's just a thing. So a bunch of the people who were brought over, their descendants have made this town. It's still around today, but it's like kind of being choked out by industries and all these industrial complexes around them. It's not a very healthy space. On top of the fact that they're actually trying to find this ship that the man used to go to Africa. Legend has it, it was burnt, and all the other remaining pieces were sunk at the bottom of this, looks like a river kind of close to the ocean area. Yeah. I love history. I love mysteries. I think it'll be an interesting one. And then finally coming out this weekend on Apple TV Plus, Raymond and Ray. Ewan McGregor and Ethan Hawke star in I'm going to call it a dark comedy.
Yeah, that's how I describe it too.
It looks like there's some humorous elements, but it's mainly serious. So I'm going to call it dark comedy. They play half-brothers who, after their father dies, his last request is that they dig his grave. Kind of specific, but must have some kind of deep meaning, I guess, to it.
Yeah. And, I'm definitely going to do that. When I die, in my last will and testament, I'm going to have, Hadley must do this to get this. Luke must do this to get this. So-and-so must do this to get this. I think that's awesome.
I'm gonna take it one step further. I'm gonna play a prank. I'm gonna be like, you must dig my grave, and then I'm gonna get cremated. One last prank from the Nixter.
Yeah.
But yeah, two powerhouse performances here from Ewan McGregor and Ethan Hawke. Obviously, Ewan McGregor's always great. Ethan Hawke, he's still got that. I feel like that voice he had in Moon Knight, that really raspy, like guy who wants to end the world voice kind of thing.
Ethan Hawke's the man.
He is, though. He is.
That's another great stellar cast.
But that is everything coming out this weekend. Whew, that was a lot to cover. Man, sometimes some of these weekends just hit you with a lot. Let's just quickly move into some number one recommends. I'm just going to recommend She-Hulk. Like I said, I think overall it's consistently a good show, except for the wedding episode. And the finale was something I didn't think Marvel had the guts to do yet. So
yes, that was very
they pleasantly surprised me on that. So that's just my quick review, my thoughts earlier on in the video. Ryan, what are you recommending?
My recommendation this week is kind of a different one. Let me tell you that. You know why? Because I've been spending a lot of time at home these cold nights. And you know what I've been watching? Halloween Wars on the Food Network. And it is absolutely awesome. Some of the cakes that they make is fantastic. So if you're in the mood for Halloween and you're hungry, watch Halloween Wars on the Food Network. Absolutely awesome. My wife and I watch it. The kiddos watch it. I might make a cake. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a cake and bring it here. And we can put it on the table. Let you guys see it. Oh, that's a
and then they can't eat it, and then I'm gonna eat it. And
we'll both eat it.
Oh yeah, we'll
none
both.
For the interns though.
Yeah, no,
they don't.
None for the,
you guys, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Just
Barbara, you've had enough. That's a little throwback.
Yep.
Last week. Yeah, that is. Have we ever recommended a food show on this?
I don't think so,
before?
but
that might be our first food recommend.
Like my wife watches a lot of like the British Baking Championship and some of those other food shows, but I don't really watch them that much. Guys' grocery games and stuff. But when it's the Halloween ones, I like it because it's kind of scary and they're Halloween themed, so it's fun. It's cool.
Well, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. As always, if you have any of your own recommendations, apparently we've opened the doors to food shows now as well.
Yeah.
No, nothing is off limits. Let us know what you've been watching in the comments down below. For myself and Ryan Meyerberg, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.